All right, this is part two. D-Rail, you got more for us?
It's just a little bit. Deuteronomy 13. I don't know if anybody ever read the whole chapter, but it's about not taking on other gods, things of that nature. So it should always be looked at. However, if not well versed in all scripture, one can be misled by this chapter. Faith in Messiah is great, but we must be armored up so as not to be deceived. Unfortunately, Deuteronomy 13 can also be the reason, I think, in my opinion, many messianics that come into the Torah believing faith today don't believe in Yahusha. They fall away. They used to believe in him as Messiah, or because the common church has put Messiah as a single deity. And many ex-Christians turn Torah believing may denounce Messiah due to this chapter in Deuteronomy because they're not well versed.
If there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder comes to pass, of which he spoke to you, saying, let us go after other gods. Okay? And this, my wife disagrees with me, and I don't care. I'll be open with everybody in the world. My wife isn't on the same page with me on everything I believe. It is what it is. But some people will say, they are not speaking about a different character of the Bible. They're just speaking of that character in a different understanding. So the Messianics who are denying Yahusha is God, they're not necessarily telling us to follow after a different person. Their understanding of that person is different. And I disagree. I think that you're telling us that that person is somebody other than the way that the scripture tells us that person is. You're telling us of a different person. If the scripture tells us that that person is a Ishmaelite or Edomite, but he's actually a Hebrew, you're preaching falsely about that person. Not only is it slander now, you're slandering that person because you're misrepresenting their character. But in this sense, if you're telling us that Yahusha is someone that he is not, you're slandering against Yahusha, and your slander is actually considered an abomination in the eyes of Yahuwah, according to Proverbs.
And doesn't Messiah say, if you deny me, you deny the Father?
Exactly. So, and again, people will argue, but they're not denying the Son. They're embracing the Son. They're not denying him. And I would say, no, you are. When you're telling people that the Son is someone that he does not say he is, or that the apostles say he is not. If the apostles are showing that he gets equal worship, then if the scriptures are showing, and I could show you passages, I mean, Philippians 2, Colossians 2, they're connecting back with Old Testament passages that refer to Yahuwah alone. But the New Testament is showing it referring to Yahusha. So either the authors of the New Testament are making a mistake, or they're connecting and showing us that Yahusha is the very nature, the very person of God manifested in the flesh, because they're using an Old Testament passage that has Yahuwah's name in it. You know, so this is an issue of not only slander and gossip, it's idolatry and it's false worship and it's heresy. That's where I come from. And I'm done. I'm finished trying to throw a bone and throw an olive branch to Messianic believers or Christians who are preaching Arianism like Jehovah's Witnesses and Unitarians, or preaching Trinitarianism, or preach, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm done. I'm done trying to give them the benefit of the doubt and trying to work out with, I'm not wiggling around this or winking my eye at this. If you're coming at me with a humble spirit and a sincere, genuine spirit to try to learn the truth, and you're trying to learn all the sides and you're still discovering, that's one thing. That's different. You're coming with a totally different spirit. But when you're coming with arrogance and you're sure of yourself that Yahusha is not God, I'm going to call you a heretic, and I believe that you are violating the Deuteronomy passage that we're reading. And if I may, D-Ray, I want to finish this actually, because this passage is actually really good. It hits the nail on the head. It says, so if this person comes and says, let us go after other gods, which you have not known, okay, we're talking about knowledge here. The scripture is knowledge. The scripture gives us the knowledge of who God is. Anything outside of the scriptures we can't know about because the scriptures ain't telling us. But everything that the scriptures does tell us, we have knowledge about. And if somebody is telling us to go against what is known about God, reject those people. It says, and let us serve them. You shall not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For Yahuwah, your God, is testing you to know whether you love Yahuwah, your God, with all your heart and with all your soul. I believe that there are people teaching that Yahusha is not Yahuwah, Yahusha is not Elohim, he's not God, because they failed the test of listening to some other dreamer of dreams or some other false prophet, and they got sucked into their false doctrine and they failed the test. But it's not going to be me.
And if I may?
Let me continue, D-Rail. I'm on fire right now. This passage is telling me everything.
Well, I'm glad I shared
it. You shall walk after Yahuwah your God and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice. You shall serve him and hold fast to him. Yahusha says, worship me and me alone. I'm a jealous God, right? He says, I will not give my glory to any other. He says, I alone stretch the heavens and the earth by myself. Well, how is all that possible if Yahusha is receiving worship in the New Testament? People are bowing down to him. Angels are bowing down to Yahusha when he was born. Angels bowed down to him in worship. All of heaven, all of everything in heaven, everything on earth, everything below the earth is praising Yahusha according to Revelation chapter 5. Philippians chapter 2 says, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Yahusha is Yahuwah, to the glory of God the Father. That's taken from Isaiah. That's a passage that's taken from Isaiah, which says, every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess to me, Yahuwah. You know? So either the New Testament, and this is what happens, D-Rail, and everybody listening, people who deny Yahusha is Yahuwah end up conflicting with the New Testament so much that they have to divorce themselves from the New Testament and say, you know what? I can't run with the New Testament no more. I'm convinced that this New Testament is tampered with. It's probably fake. It's probably an invention of Christianity, and it's not an invention of the Israelites. So I'm going to be an Old Testament only believer. And that's what tends to happen, because you conflict with these strong passages that I just mentioned without getting into deeply, which I expect to get into soon. But D-Rail, go ahead.
So I'm glad I wasn't going to read Deuteronomy 13. I'm glad I brought that up in my notes because, like I said, what I wrote down, however, if not well versed in all scripture. Now, we see this with people that come to be Torah believers. They first deny Paul right away, and then because they don't understand Paul's writings, and then next thing you know, they denounce Yahusha completely. And then you guys that are new to this walk, watch out for those people because they will come after you. They've come after me, and I just totally cut ties with those people. And these are the false prophets, so to speak, that will come after you and try to tell you that Yahusha is not real. He's made up.
All right, thanks, D-Rail.